Today is Wednesday, and on Wednesdays I make kombucha. I'm going to make 3 batches. I've got my water started. I use filtered water. I'm going to use this tea. It's important to use a caffeinated tea, and Susan likes a little bit of flavor, so we use this ginger peach black tea, and then you'll need sugar. And most importantly, you're going to need a SCOBY. I have several. We have 7 jars that we work with. A SCOBY is an acronym for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. I had to look it up because I can't remember. Other people call it the mother, and in Spanish it sounds much more prettier. It's Madre de Vinegre, which I wish I had a really good accent because it's really pretty how they say it, but it is what it is. I personally consider it an Abby Normal. Seriously, doesn't that remind you of Abby Normal? I use 10 tea bags per batch, and after I've removed the tea bags, I gather them together. I cut off these tags and then I tie a knot just so that they're all connected. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. It's important to use stainless steel pots and to not use plastic spoons or metal spoons. I don't know, maybe you could use a stainless steel spoon, but plastic can harbor bacteria, and certain metals can react to the tea, I don't know, some acid thing. My goal is always to get the pots boiling at the same time. All right, remove them from the heat and let them steep for 10 minutes. And the first year that we lived in Nashville, I met Susan, and she was hiring an admin assistant / personal assistant, and admin assistant was my background, and I liked her, and I said, yeah, I want the job. So I go to work with her, and one of the weeks she's got me moving this tea in these single serving bottles into a refrigerator. Oh, there's my timer. Hold. Okay, now it's time to remove the tea bags. And what I do is I strain them, because we actually use the tea bags again for just making a regular iced tea. I lay them out like this because I like to, and I let them dry out for a couple of days, and I put them in a bag in the freezer to make sweet tea. That's a southern thing for Clifton or Matthew when he's home. Now it's time to add the sugar. We do 1 cup full and 1 slightly full cup, so a little under 2 cups of sugar in each pot. Slightly full. Make sure you stir the sugar good and have it dissolve. I forgot to do 1 pot one time, and it just was this big lump under there. So we're going to stir this up, and then we're going to let the pans cool a bit. Actually, we're going to let them cool a lot. Okay, anyways, back to my story. Where was I? All right, she wanted me to put these bottles of tea that were outside a refrigerator into the refrigerator. It was kombucha. I didn't know what kombucha was. I didn't even know it was fermenting outside the refrigerator. So I go to look at these bottles, and there's like floaty stuff in it, like little jellyfish. And I think, oh no, this stuff's gone bad. And I told her, I said, I think you need to throw that tea out. Then she told me what kombucha was. So then I found myself making kombucha every week. And I remember being in the kitchen one time making this strange stuff and asking her, is this what you wanted to hire me for when you read my resume? Did it lend itself to making kombucha tea? I was kind of baffled. While the tea is cooling, I pulled these 3 jars out. I'm gonna bottle it now. And I always put it on a towel because the glass and that granite, they're not really friendly together. And I want it by the sink, because if one breaks, then I'm by the sink, which is better. Because one time I put a jar on this counter over here, and it cracked on the bottom and created a hole, and it flowed out on both sides of the island onto the rugs. It was a mess. I was scrambling to find towels to soak it up, and it was gross. I'm gonna do 12 bottles per jar. I had eked out 15 bottles per jar, but we have such a supply of a kombucha tea that I don't need that much, and I'm running out of jars. Each lid I line with a piece of cut out parchment just to protect the tea from the plastic, you know, just make sure it's clean, because we're going to fill it really full to the top. Okay, so these are what you would call the second fermentation. This is the first fermentation, which is the tea I'm making right now. These go in these jars. Susan likes to have all the caffeine and the sugar eaten away, or whatever that SCOBY does. So we do it in these large jars for 3 weeks, but a lot of people just do it maybe 10 days or less. This is the second fermentation, and with the second fermentation, you add a little bit of fruit. I'm using these frozen cherries. A lot of times we use blueberries. So I'm just gonna put one of these in each of the jars. There's a lot of different ways you can flavor this. You can use any number of fruits and sweeteners. You can just look it up on Google. There's a whole world out there about kombucha tea. So much stuff that you can learn about. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to show you what I do on Wednesdays. Now here's a good look at the SCOBY. This is a nice one. They get layered. And if I get one that's super layered, I'll take it apart and put the extra layer in the compost, in the garden, or you can give it away. I actually saw something online that you can make a SCOBY candy. Now, I don't know why anybody would ever want to do that. One of the reasons why I put a towel down, because this is pretty much how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this funnel and I'm gonna put it in there, and trust me, there is always spillage. You fill them to the top. That helps create more of a carbonation, more of a fizz. And also I should have mentioned, the longer that it's in this first fermentation, and maybe the second one too, I don't know, the less sugar there is, but the more it tastes like vinegar. So it's really kind of a taste preference. I think I would like it to be a little bit sweeter myself. Okay, just 2 more jars to go. I am a one-woman factory. I put stickies on everything with dates because you never know. What if I'm not around and somebody forgets to put them in the refrigerator? That could be disastrous. This is last week's supply. It's gonna go in the fridge now, because we definitely need some more. I sticky note everything. I want to know when my batches are. Remember I was telling you about how the first time I did it? Can you see? It's got this like weird stuff. I wanted to throw it out. It's a baby SCOBY. Now I'm going to replenish these jars with the new tea I made. First thing I gotta do is I gotta take this SCOBY out. So you make sure your hands are clean. Basically you get it. It's just kind of a rubbery thing. I'm taking it out because my tea is still warm and I don't want to put warm tea on top of the SCOBY because it could hurt it. I'm going to pour one of these pans into that jar, and now I'm going to add some more filtered water, clear water, and then that'll bring the temperature down. Now I know some people don't want to do it this way. They want to make the tea in the full batch, but I am impatient, so I make it concentrated, then I add some more water to it, and I can put the SCOBY back in, and I'm done. One way you can make sure that the tea's not too warm for the SCOBY, you could put a little on a spoon and put it on your wrist like you do a baby bottle. This baby's just right. SCOBY's in, it's dated. I got it covered with a muslin cloth, tight with a rubber band. That's to keep contaminants out, especially fruit flies. Do you notice that background noise? Do you hear it? It's the dryer. I think we need to get that fixed. So sweet tea is for Clifton. Kombucha tea is for Susan. I don't drink kombucha. Well, I might buy one from the store once in a while. I don't drink sweet tea. The only tea I really drink is hot tea in a nice cup with a little bit of cream. A very English thing to do.